This episode of Spectre Sound Studios is brought to you by DistroKid. All right, guys, it's the weekend or close to it. Once again, I'm kind of shooting this video ahead of time so I can take more time and do more in-depth videos on the other stuff. But you guys are what makes this show go round. This is what's kept this show going for all these years, is all the feedback I get from you awesome people. So if you've got a comment, you got a question, I want to hear from you. Leave it below. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Glenn, I'm ready because everyone says I'm a huge douchebag and have no friends to help me on my musical journey. I'm not very good at guitar, but I know I enjoy it extremely loud. I want something so loud it will terrify my neighbors. Which amp do you recommend?
I'd recommend getting some headphones. That way you don't get a visit from the cops. Because if you live in the States, that can be very dangerous.
Metalheads, you can have any speaker you like as long as it's a V30.
One of us, one of us, one of us.
One of us, Google Goo.
What the hell does Google Goo mean?
We don't know. Google Goo.
Who uses cabinets? Boomers? Is this a show for olds?
Well, lots of people use cabinets. Sure, boomers do, but guys like me do as well, Gen Xers. Hell, a lot of people in the younger generations use cabinets too. Then again, a lot of people from your generation touch grass once in a while and actually leave their fucking bedrooms. Maybe try that, or does the outside world scare you? Seriously, man, by that comment, you sound like you're about 2 seconds away from getting isekai'd. Fuck.
I'll admit, I got suckered into the speakers are the core of your tone hype. I have HP vertical 2x12 loaded vintage 30s, the current good ones, but wanted to try something different, mix and match speakers. I saw that Slush is finally shipping the hemp back. I liked the description of it being a cream bag with the highs rolled off, a good match for Fenders, while this being good for metal. So I got one to run mixed with a V30. I dropped it in the cab down to 100 watts from 120, which is fine. It sounds okay. Honestly, I can't really tell the fucking difference. I'm sure that swapping out shitty speakers will drastically change things, but I'm going from one good speaker to another one is far less noticeable depending on which change it is. Live and learn.
Sterling, bro, seriously. Here's the thing. Can you actually remember what your V30 sounded like before you changed it out for another speaker? I'm gonna take a wild guess you can't, because, you know, we have to have examples played back for us because our sonic memory isn't as good as we think it is. Now, what I'll suggest here is take a microphone, play a passage through it on the Vintage 30, and then move the microphone down to the hemp back, and you can hear the difference in tone there. What would have been really cool is if you say mic the speaker from 2 feet back with just the V30s in it and then one with the hemp back blend. You would definitely hear the difference on playback there as well. And this is how we burn ourselves with pickup demos as well. I've seen a few videos where guys are swapping guitars around. Oh, well, this guitar sounds so much different from the next. And it's like they're listening to what they're hearing through the speakers, but they're also hearing the in-lap tone, which is where you're going to hear the biggest difference in guitars. Meanwhile, those watching it on YouTube are listening to the actual tone of just the speaker, and we're going, oh, well, there's no big difference there at all now, is there? And it's like, gotta remember, guys, the key to checking out your guitar sound isn't just playing it live. It's make a recording and listen to the playback! That's the important part. If you forget to do that, you're screwed. Just try that out.
Fucking keyboard tough guys. I really dig your content. How can someone go from a bedroom guitar player to recording? There's times I'll come up with good sounding riffs next day.
And the comment got kind of chopped off there. Not sure what happened. I'm going to guess next day. I can't remember. Yeah, just like get yourself a copy of Boger Amp Knob or something like that and record your ideas. Maybe make little notes, number them by date. That way when you can review them and go, oh, I like this, I don't like that. Again, it's all about listening to what you're actually making. It's not that difficult, guys.
One of my favorite proper humbuckers are Artec, and those are legit. They cost like $30 a pair and rivals every aftermarket hand-wound or boutique pickups I put them up against. Only snobs and douchebags use proper improperly.
Never heard of them, but if they're $30 a set, I definitely got to get them and try them out, because I'm very curious about that and how much you're actually going to hear a difference on actual playback, not just in the lap. Thanks for the suggestion, dude. I am going to be doing another pickup shootout in the very near future, and I'll add those to the list. Appreciate it, man. Once again, I love hearing from you guys. I love your suggestions. It gives me great ideas to do episodes on. So you got something you want to see on the show? Let me know.
Hey Glenn, I love the show and your scientific approach. When creating your A/B test, do you think that YouTube compression algorithm degrades the quality of the audio to the point where using YouTube to compare, inform the masses is impossible or at least difficult? Similar to the idea that you can't tell how good a mix is by listening to it on your smartphone.
You know, I always hear that, and I think that's just a fucking lame excuse for people who don't bother to listen to tests on something other than a smartphone speaker, because I'll play stuff back on YouTube and I can hear the differences clear as day. I think the YouTube audio compression is actually pretty fucking good, to be honest with you. I'm not hearing what people are talking about, and I watch my comparisons. in the playback. So I don't know, maybe instead of being lazy and just watching it on your phone, maybe watch it on your desktop and try playing it through a decent set of speakers. You'd be amazed at what you can hear. I mean, like, I've been doing a lot of shorts recently. I show some of my shootouts on that. And yeah, when you're listening on a cell phone speaker, it's almost impossible to tell. So it has much more to do with your playback speakers than the actual YouTube compression algorithm. If you're releasing music to the world, you need DistroKid. I've been using them since 2015 and they kick ass. If you want to get your tracks out to Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, and Spotify, and even 150 smaller sites, then cough up a whopping $22.99 a year and you can keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has tons of cool features like Spotify Hyperfollow for more followers, change your image on Apple Music and iTunes, and you can add credits and liner notes too. You can now list musicians, contact info, social media profiles, and hundreds of other roles. And what's really cool, there's now a mobile app so you can upload your music on the go, track your stats, and track your earnings too. DistroKid Splits allows you to pay your collaborators automatically by percentage so you can concentrate on making music instead of learning how to be an accountant. You can change your splits, plus add or remove collaborators at any time, and collaborators even get a 50% discount on their own DistroKid account. There's 3 levels of plans available: Musician, Musician Plus, and even one for labels. Sadly, there's no bass player, only one. They did make it simple enough for anybody to follow. I use DistroKid to put my music online, including this channel's theme song, The Eagle Has Landed, and I even got a license through DistroKid for that cover of Moon on the Water that we did a while back. And that's one of my favorite features, easy cover song licenses. What are you doing watching me? Get over to distrokid.com/VIP/Spectre today and grab yourself a 7% discount on your first year. DistroKid's the easiest way to get your music out to the world. Follow the link in the description below. Now back to the show.
The premium tubes you've tried are made in Russia and China. Modern crap with fancy labels. The real good stuff is new old stop, a vintage Muller. I-63 at V1 will change the tone, and it will notice it because you're changing your preamp tubes in the circuit. Makes less difference than, but still do. If used on more than 30 amps, EVH and SRV had specific tubes in all their amps for a reason.
Bullshit. Talk is cheap. Back up your words with evidence or shut the fuck up.
Hey Glenn, is there any chance we'll get the possibility to purchase your Tonex captures? That driftwood sounds great. Friendly fuck you from Switzerland.
I don't know. It really depends on if there's enough demand for it. I might be willing to put that up at some point. Might be pretty cool. We'll have to see. Once again, the big thing making all the big differences in that is the Spectre Digital Free Vintage 30 impulse responses you can grab by following the link in the description below. And they're also available on the Prism platform too. Definitely worth taking a look at that. That's the key, guys. Not so much the amp, it's more so about the actual speaker. That's the important part.
Holy shit! Your bass tones always distract me from what I'm supposed to be paying attention to in the mix. How do you get a bass tone to even sound like that?
Dude, we're working on it. That's our special top secret bass plugin going on Spectre Digital right now. It's slowly but surely creeping towards completion. It's like every time you guys make a comment like this, I'm just like, fuck, I wish I could show you what we're doing, because it's so easy to work with. It's so easy to get a great bass tone. And it's just maddening because I've been using this for about a year and I've been getting all these comments and I'm like, when it finally comes out, you guys are going to dig it. That's all I can say. Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to be an interesting ride. Hopefully, we're going to get it out sooner rather than later. But hey, software development takes time. That's all I can say.
Hey Glenn, what would you suggest for a speaker replacement for a 2x12 combo amp? I was thinking of the DV77. It would be awesome to see Dweezil on the channel.
Dude, I keep saying this. There's so many great options out there right now. Yeah, the DV77s from Eminence are great. The Mojo Tones are fucking amazing too. The BV25Ms are fabulous. The Hezu Demons are great. There's a ton of WGS stuff. The WGS Reapers are really cool as well. All you gotta do is do a little digging, or better yet, just watch the show, because I've got a bunch of speaker demos you can check out. That's for sure. All you gotta do is click a few of those videos, or maybe hit the YouTube search bar and type in good speaker for metal that isn't vintage 30. Try that, see what you get.
I took Glenn's advice and ordered a ton of speakers from Sweetwater. They were delivered on a freaking pallet. I have a warehouse in LA where my band and I store our gear. I pulled out a bunch of my cabs, and from storage I normally use my PRS Tuxedo 2x12 cabs for everything. They sound amazing. I started changing out speakers in 6, 2 for each, 1x12, 2x12, 4x12 cabs with the same head, my Mesa Mark V, and noticed draft difference between the tones, but also the way those speakers interact with the 1x12, 2x12, 4x12 cabinet. Some sound great at 2x12, but not so good in a 4x12. The 1x12 started to become a reference standard, as most speakers sound great in that configuration. Speakers were 4 Selection Vintage 30, 4 Eminence Texas Heat, 4 Selection Hempback, 2 Selection Blue, 4 4 Celestion G12 Neo, 4 WGS G12A Alnico. To our ears, the Eminence sounded best in a 4x12. The Celestion Bu were best in a 2x12, and all of them sound good in a 1x12. We didn't use a spectrum analyzer or anything, just our earballs. It was a very fun and kind of expensive project, but it was very enlightening when you see that the speakers that come in your matching cab for your amp head aren't the best sounding with that amp. Now I realize that we didn't take the time to break in these speakers, and the three of us had some friendly arguments over the tone preferences, but I would have never thought to do this without Glenn's work. Well done, sir. P.S. I'm currently planning on putting all the SX speakers on reverb if anyone wants some replacement speakers at a bit of a discount.
Hey, sounds good to me, man. I mean, like, I still got to test the whole break-in thing, see how much of a difference it really makes. I've got a couple of brand new ones sitting in here from a couple different manufacturers, so maybe that's something I should do. I think that needs to be put to the test to see what's actually going on. Glad you had fun doing it, man. I'm sure it was a lot of work, but I'm sure you found something really fucking cool along the way. Good for you. Good for willing to be able to try out a new idea and maybe chart some new directions in your guitar tone. I'm proud of you, man.
Me. Got some new Mission Hi-Fi speakers. Friend. What? You should have bought some Wharfdale, Bose, Bauer, Polk, Pioneer, etc. ad nauseum. Me. Got some new speakers for my guitar cab. Friend. What difference will that make? Me. Sigh.
Oh, ain't that the truth? Oh, man. Yeah, it's like, oh, I changed the speakers up my cab. Why would you do that? Why is it that people care so much about their home stereo speakers, but you dare suggest changing the speaker out in their guitar cab makes a difference? All of a sudden, they look at you like you're from Mars or something. No, it's the tubes and pickups.
Hey Glenn, I was just thinking about the people claiming tubes make a difference. I don't really know much about gear used to make music, but I figured that if tubes actually made a difference, wouldn't there be some kind of company or person that would make some kind of software or something that would emulate the sound of different tubes and such, like using software to replicate the sounds of different tubes? Like I said, I don't know much about music gear, so if this comment is totally wrong, I apologize as I'm trying to learn. Thanks, love your content.
Hey Angel, no, that's a fucking fantastic question. The thing is, there is some software that emulates the changes in tubes. I can't say who. This is just, strictly fucking incognito mode here. Let's just put it that way. I was talking with one developer and they said, they've got an amp sim where you can change out the different power tube types, and they literally added a little bit of EQ to the changes so the user would actually hear a change in the tone instead of, actually emulating what tubes do, and then they'd have to field, 10,000 tech support questions. Well, hey man, I tried changing the tubes and it didn't do anything. Yeah, no fucking shit.
Glenn, thanks for this, but I feel I just have to ask. How many guitars do you have in your studio? Every videos you upload always have a different axe.
At this point, I've got so many, I'm tripping over them.
Did you see that Ola video about a month or two ago? He played 10 different guitars through the same amp, and they all sounded very similar, surprisingly even a Squire Strat with single coils. I think it inadvertently backed up your video. Yes, there were very small differences, but nothing worth writing home about.
Hey, that's the sad truth of it. Pickups are only going to make a very minor difference, and as soon as you start putting distortion on that signal, by the very nature of the term distortion, you're going to be distorting the signal that the pickup is generating. So pickups become much more about output and noise rejection as opposed to actually having a tone that influences your sound. So that's cool. Ola did that video. I think that's fucking great. It's always nice to get validated by your colleagues and people who you work with and admire and all that kind of shit. That's fucking great. Good for him. I'm glad he made that video, and I'm glad you could see that as well. Remember, guys, the trick is to think like an engineer and not like a guitar player, and that means learning to listen with your ears and not your eyes.
You need to bring back stupid musician texts.
I've been thinking about that for quite a while. I got to ask you guys, is that something you want to see on the show? You want to see another stupid musician text? It's been a couple of years since we've done one. It was an awful lot of fun, but I felt the jokes might have been getting a little bit old. Who knows? Maybe there's new dimensions of stupidity that musicians have come up with. I think that might be a lot of fun. So if that's something you want to see, let me know, because I want to hear from you. That being said, if you have some stupid musician text you'd like to share with me, head on over to the Spectre Media Group Facebook page. You can submit there, and you can also hit up the Spectre Media website, spectremedia.ca, and there's a stupid musician text submission form there you can check out as well. Send in some screenshots, make it happen. Just make sure you put them in order. That way I don't have to decipher what the fuck your conversation's trying to do. Just makes the show go along a whole lot faster. Anyway, thanks again to DistroKid for sponsoring this episode, and if you haven't seen it, make sure you check out 13 Reasons Why Opening a Home Studio is a Terrible Idea.